Greg Kelly Show.
All right, in honor of Juneteenth, let's do absolutely nothing. All right, no Juneteenth free zone. Except I may make fun of it from time to time. I'm telling you, I've asked thousands of people. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. I don't care if you Googled it 5 minutes ago. You don't know about it. It doesn't. No, it's not resonating. Nobody. You had to learn about it in first grade. If you didn't learn it in first grade, you don't know what the hell it is. And nobody knows what it is. It's fascinating. I went back to June 19th of 2019. And I went through all the fake news, and guess what? They never, ever, ever, ever mentioned Juneteenth. Okay, June 20th or June 19th, 2020, it became a kind of an issue because they were all trying to embarrass Trump, get Trump to cancel that rally that he had planned for June 19th. You can have that. It's on June 19th, and so on and so on. And now it's a federal holiday, not because Joe Biden gives a damn about black people, all right, or their heritage or anything like that. It was a way to, an attempt to trip up Trump, all right? And it's just, the whole damn thing is preposterous, right? I took a microphone yesterday. I talked to a bunch of people. Nobody knows. And I hate to say it, nobody really cares. Even when you find out what it was, it's like, huh? Wait, what? Texas slaves? What? I don't get it. Nobody does. This is a silly political, dirty political trick on Trump. It's amazing. It is amazing what's happening, The FBI tells us crime is down, and we have maniac illegal migrants raping children. We hear that, Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump is, oh my gosh, he's going after these. He's a racist. He's going after migrants. Yet more people of color are voting for Trump than ever before for a Republican. Ever. It's amazing. There are fascinating things happening. Now, they don't want you to know that. And so many of our friends don't know that. They don't understand. They still think that Donald Trump said white supremacists are very fine people. I met one of the smartest guys I know, personal friend of mine. I'm so flattered that he's a friend of mine. He went to Columbia. He went to Yale. He went to Oxford. He's got another degree, I think, from Stanford. The guy is off the charts brilliant. We've been friends for 20 years. And, I understand he likes to avoid the news because the news can be depressing. And we're talking about politics and Trump comes up and he's like, well, Trump did say that about those guys down there at Charlottesville. That was pretty bad. Oh, man, it kind of broke my heart because the fake news is they win. They're winning over some people with their deceptive, horrible techniques and tactics. That latest thing with the parachute, once and for all, digitally altered. CBS News, Walter Cronkite, who was no great shake, by the way, no great shakes. Walter Cronkite, that guy was thoroughly corrupt. He was taking all kinds of gifts and services from big companies, just stuff that he should not have been doing as the world's most trusted man. He was a bleeding heart liberal. He wet his pants after the Tet Offensive in Vietnam. He was just, But anyway, that guy's network, I guess some people think it's somewhat credible or was credible. They took that video of Joe Biden. Remember when he walked off from the group of seven? It's a group outing. The group of seven. They got to stick together as a group. But Joe walked off because he saw something like a baby, something that tantalized him, something that made him, what is that? A shiny object over there? He walked off from the group. And you know what CBS said? It was digitally altered. It is misinformation, disinformation, digitally altered. Strange thing about that is basically any video you see on television arguably has been digitally altered. So most editing is now done digitally, right? With the computer. No one is going to sit around and watch the whole damn ceremony, right? You can't. Nobody has 45 minutes. You can't do that. And now they're saying, well, if you don't have the full context, so it was digitally altered because it was truncated. It was shortened. But that did not alter the substance of what happened. Digitally altered when they used that, and they said they had a big banner that said, this has been digitally altered by Republicans and right-wing media. Right-wing. Do I seem right-wing? Do I seem all that right-wing? I don't think I'm right-wing. I'm right-wing. Right-wing sounds a little bit negative, right? Is having a border negative? Is not getting into dopey foreign wars negative? Is perhaps allowing a child to decide once they become an adult issues of sexuality? Is that so right wing? No, it's not. Of course not. Of course not. We're normal. We're regular. And 10 years ago, Democrats. That's why it is possible. It really is. I was talking to Rick Grinnell yesterday. Rick? Rick happens to be a great guy who was very close to Trump. He was the director of national intelligence, and he happens to be gay. And all right, whatever you want to say, and sometimes this is true. There's a little kernel of truth. They tend to be very sensitive. They just pick up on things. They're more attuned, and they're very attuned, quite frankly, gay conservatives, to what their gay liberal friends are saying. And his gay liberal friends are getting ready to vote for Trump. All right? They're getting ready to vote for Trump in places like California, here in New York. I mean, this could be. I know I'm worried about them cheating. I'm worried about a million things right now. But this could be, when you think about it, when you think about the agenda that Joe Biden is pushing, when you think about what a decrepit fool he is, and the lies and this hideous ideology that came from nowhere. If all things being equal, I know it's a stretch right now, but you could see a 1980 Reagan-esque victory, right? Where he won, what did he win, like 35 states or something like that? I'm not talking about 1984 when he won 49, but it was a landslide over Carter, a landslide. Not the biggest electoral victory in history or anything like that, but significant and comfortable. I think it's possible. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. Amidst all this craziness, and the FBI coming out and saying that America is safer than ever before when we have these illegal aliens running around all over the place, when the FBI purposely doctored the numbers and releasing it quarterly, not yearly. And when our heart is breaking, even if you believe those numbers were coming down, when we have a situation like this, this poor girl in Queens, hey, the tattoo did him in. If you're thinking about committing a crime and you got a tattoo and somebody can describe it, you are screwed. Cut 11, please. Cut 11. Nope.
The Ecuadorian migrant accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in Queens last week set to appear before a judge. The disturbing rape that has shocked New York. Good Samaritans finding and capturing the accused evildoer. The girl and a 13-year-old boy forced into the woods of a park at knife point. Here's Jim Dolan.
25-year-old Christian Ingolandi learned a bit early this morning about rousing the ire of his neighbors. Police say he raped a 13-year-old girl last week. And when they released his pictures, his neighbors took matters into their own hands.
I seen him walk into the store, and I had to take him out. And I told everybody, this is the rapist, I punched him, I kicked him a little bit, I ain't gonna lie.
The group beat him and kicked him until Ingolandi rolled under a car and covered his face, pleading with them.
He was more so like trying to get forgiveness from us, but it was no forgiveness to be given.
I brought him outside. I took off my boy's belt and I tied up his feet together so he don't get away.
Put him in a headlock at some point?
Yeah, I did.
A violent criminal has been taken off our streets.
Police say Ingolandi, who is 25 and from Ecuador, kidnapped and raped a 13-year-old girl in a remote wooded area of Casino Park last Thursday. A male friend of hers was tied up and forced to watch. The girl described the person who did it and told police about a distinctive wild boar tattoo on the chest of the man who raped her. Look at Ingolandi as they took him into custody this morning, the tattoo visible on his chest. Furious at the horror of the rape of a child, the community found him and called police.
Here we found that the community was holding our perp. At the time, the community was trying to hold the perpetrator, waiting for the police. He fought with them, and the community still managed to hold on to him until we got there.
As for the beating Ingolandi took at the hands of an enraged community, those who delivered the street justice say he deserved it.
He's going to get it worse in jail. They got him on camera. He did what he did. He's a rapist. We don't condone that.
Ingolandi has never been in trouble with the law before, but he's in a heap of it now, charged with rape, robbery, kidnapping, menacing, a host of other crimes. He'll be arraigned here in criminal court in Queens.
All right, that's Jim Dolan reporting. All right, don't have any beef with the report. Pretty tough to listen to, but it's important. Jim Dolan is the guy who lied about Trump up in the Bronx, right? Went and found the 4 people who hated Trump and interviewed them and ignored the thousands of people who love the guy up in the Bronx. Yeah, look, number one, this rape was not caught on camera. All right, it wasn't. And I'm not for beating up suspects. You don't know yet. People mistaken identity, whatever. This case is not over yet. It's not. So I don't like seeing people beat up, but looks like they got the guy, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing, actually. In the midst of so much weirdness. Hey, tomorrow is the first day of summer. Forget Juneteenth. Tomorrow is the first day of summer. And you can do so much in a season. I really need to do a few things this season, the season of the summer. I need to, once again, stop drinking this poison that is known as Diet Coke. What else? Vitamin water, zero nutrients. Okay, that's what it is. It's actually zero nutrients. It's poison, all this crap. The chemicals we put in our body, you don't need any of it. What else do I need to do? That's a big one. Maybe get the hell off of social media, especially Instagram. I mean, it is the most captivating feed. It's 1,000 times more captivating than television. It's like, how do we describe it? It's the content version of an orgasm. All right. I mean, in a way, right? It's like they take the climax, the very, very, like the nugget of the experience, whether you're into watches or airplanes or parachuting or music. All right. They take the very bad, they get rid of all the boring stuff and they have just the moment, right? The key moment. And it's only about 8 seconds and you keep going and going and going and going and going. And who the hell gets rich? Who benefits from that? Sorry about the orgasm analogy, but it kind of applies. Who gets anything out of that? Do you get inspired genuinely? Maybe a little bit here and there. You see something you like, but is it worth 3 hours of your life? Is it worth your life? I got another problem I got to deal with. My children, 2 and 4. Yeah, we got them iPads. Why did we get them iPads? We were going on a great big trip driving all the way to Virginia. And these kids are loud and rambunctious and they're going crazy and nuts and whatever. They're like kids are supposed to do. I can only turn around and do so much, with your hand. So we gave them the iPads and they're pretty much kind of hooked. Now, there's a lot of bad things that go with it. Then again, there are a lot of great things that go with it. My 4-year-old speaks Spanish and French. Huh? I got that vicarious thrill going. Spanish and French. And they, the word she used the other day, she said something was fragile. She said, she wanted to accommodate me about something. I will accommodate you, Daddy. I mean, what? What? She even knew how to spell it, which I have trouble with. Accommodate. 2 C's and 2 M's. A lot of negative, but I got to get the hell off that stuff. And then I'll work on my kids. Mark Zuckerberg. Right? Mark Zuckerberg. He's the one, and he can't be trusted. He cannot be. He already threw the 2020 election. In my opinion, look, he did a lot of nasty things. He spread around all that money. Isn't it amazing right now? You can be a racist in public, and that's okay. You can be anti-white in public. You can sit on CNN and complain about older white men. Older white men. Oh, they need to sit down and sit back. And you know who says it? Sometimes older white men. Sometimes a pretty young girl of color, as I saw her on the Abby Phillips show with her glasses, saying that white men, nobody likes older white men and they need to sit down. And there's an older white guy sitting right there. What did he do? He sat down and he took it. He just listened. And then he said something woke at the end of it. You see, I get it. Hey, let's face it. Milwaukee does kind of suck. It's okay. You can speak in those terms. Give me one moment. We're going to defend Milwaukee, but we're also going to talk some truth about it. And this Juneteenth, I think we're done. Chicago, a full-fledged lunatic is running the show. hey, we're rooting for Mr. Dolan, who's running for the AOC seat. Am I allowed to say that on TV, the radio? I think I am. Good luck. AOC is getting a primary challenge. I can't endorse anybody. If I were endorsing, I would be definitely endorsing Mr. Dolan for that seat that AOC currently occupies. He's running as a Democrat. He's the only Democrat I like these days. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Long Island is more exciting than ever at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. Get ready to zoom into some serious cash with Zoom Ball every Wednesday in June. Win up to $500,000. 1 point equals 1 entry. 2 lucky winners will be drawn at the top of every hour from 1 to 5 p.m. to play Zoom Ball. Discover the excitement at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel.
If gambling is a problem for you or someone, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 877-8-HOPE or text NY.
This is the Greg Kelly Show.
All right, so it's really hot out. It's going to stay hot, and it's really hot in D.C., Washington, D.C., and that Karine Jean-Pierre, she's terrible at the job, but she did the right thing. Somebody was having some sort of a seizure, maybe heat exhaustion, and right in the middle of her press briefing, and she sprang into action. I don't know what she can really do about it, but let's listen.
Move today. Can you just give us a sense of how?
Yeah, sorry. Oh, hold on. Did somebody pass up?
Yes. Let me get.
Okay. Can we get?
Yep.
All right, there she goes over there, and everyone's standing up. I have nothing negative to say about this, and it looks like it wasn't like a heart attack or something. The guy just got hot and needed some water and some relaxation. So we got to be careful out there. I keep hearing about you know what you're not hearing about anymore? The cooling centers, right? Don't they have cooling centers all over the place? I haven't heard a word about the cooling centers. Places where there's air conditioning. Air conditioning is a magnificent device, feature, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't want to call it an invention. It was invented like 140 years ago. It's a long time. It changed everything. It's just delicious. I love it. So, all right, we want that person to get well. Hey, the other thing at the White House, they invited these jerks from the Queer Eye show to show up. Now, Queer Eye used to be a good show. They called it Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And, the Fab Five, right? These guys, it's 20 years ago it first came out. It was very edgy, kind of cutting edge. And let's face it, gay people, gay men, not always, certainly not with that James Flippin we got outside, but other gay men are very stylish, and they got a certain eye for, fashion and stuff like that. And they found these guys who are incredibly witty and funny and very good at what they did. Good with fashion, good with culture and furniture and stuff like that. And they'd go to meet some, straight bachelor who, everything's a wreck and has no eye for anything. And they'd kind of revamp him from head to toe in his apartment. Well, they sent this guy is a beast, to the White House on the new Queer Eye show, and they let him screw around in the Oval Office and at the White House podium. Those places, I guess, used to mean something, right? But not anymore.
You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
Hey, wait a second. Willie Mays is dead at the age of 93? Willie Mays died. Wow, legend. Gotta be honest, I kind of thought that had happened some time ago, right? I had no idea. Talk about a living legend. Wow, a true living legend. Willie Mays, 93 years old. I had no idea he was out there. Sorry, but he was the guy who broke the color barrier, right? Was he the guy? No, that was Jackie Robinson. What was his claim to fame? Willie Mays. Great baseball player. I remember. Yeah, you're right. He was the guy who caught it. He was running to center field with his back to home plate, and he caught the ball. And I always remember how he threw it back, and he watched the ball. He fell down after he threw it, and he watched the ball. He was really interested in the play. It was the catch, but yeah, you got to throw it. I found that interesting. Let me get to somebody who really knows this guy. Willie Mays, this is from Richard Goldstein. Willie Mays, the spirited center fielder whose brilliance at the plate, in the field, and on the base paths for the Giants, led many to call him the greatest all-round player in baseball history, died today, in Palo Alto, California. He was 93. Larry Baer, the president and chief executive of the Giants, said Mays, the oldest living member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, died in an assisted living facility. Mays compiled an extraordinary set of statistics in 22 National League seasons with the Giants in New York and San Francisco, and a brief return to New York with the Mets. I remember that, preceded by a time in the Negro Leagues from 1948 to 50. He hit 660 career home runs and had 3,293 hits and a 301 career batting average. How about that? 301, that's a really great average, but you think about it, 3 out of 10 times at bat. You strike out, or 7 times out of 10. That's tough, but that's baseball. He did more than personify the complete ball player. An exuberant style of play and an effervescent personality made Mays one of the game's and America's most charismatic figures, a name that even people far afield from the baseball world recognized instantly as a national treasure. Charles Schultz. Hey, the guy who came up with Charlie Brown. He was such a fan that Mays often came up in the name in Schultz's Peanuts comic strip. Asked to spell Mays in a spelling bee, Charlie Brown said Mays, but it was supposed to be Z. Woody Allen's alter ego in Manhattan ranked Mays number 2 on his list of joys. I do remember that. Yeah. That made life worthwhile. Also, that 17-year-old girl and her smile. And we kind of should have known then. Woody Allen was like 42, and one of the things that made him happy was this 17-year-old girl that he was dating, and they made it normal in the movie. All right. When I broke in, I didn't know many people by name, Mays once explained. So I would just say hey, and the writers picked that up. Say hey, Willie Mays. Say hey. If you want to talk to me, just say hey. Mays propelled himself into the Hall of Fame with thrilling flair, his cap flying off as he chased down a drive or ran the bases. He had an open manner, friendly, vivacious, irrepressible. The baseball writer Leonard Coppett said of the young Mays, whatever his private... Hey, do me a favor, fire up some Willie Mays saying something, right? I want to hear what he sounds like. So many of these obituaries, you'll see it. They never use any footage of the guy actually saying something. They'll show you the play, but I want to hear from Willie Mays. Doesn't Shea Stadium, Citi Field, have a great big Willie Mays exhibit, by the way? I think they do. Even New York embraced this son of Alabama, putting him on a pedestal with 2 others who ruled the city's center fields in an era when its teams dominated baseball. The Yankees had Mickey Mantle, the Brooklyn Dodgers had Duke Snider, and the Giants had number 24, and a city not known for equanimity loved to argue about which team's slugger reigned supreme. Goodness gracious, these New York Times sports writers are so over the top. A city not known for its equanimity. What? All right, so he's dead. Nothing anybody can do about it. Looked like a really great long life of consequence. We got some Willie Mays? All right, he's talking to Tim McCarver. Oh, yeah, he's cool. Also no longer with us, I don't believe, right? Hit it.
One of whom declared there were only 2 geniuses in history, Willie Shakespeare and Willie Mays.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Willie, you're in the golden years of a golden life after a golden career. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's got to make you feel awfully good about everything you've achieved, everything you've done, and your life in general.
Well, I think one thing, Tim, is that so many people have continued helping me do whatever I need to be done. I hear guys say, well, I wish I could have did this, did that. When I say, hey, I did everything that was in baseball. Now I got a life to live. And what I do is I try and help people now that never had a chance to do what I could do. And I think it's just remarkable how people catch on to what I'm trying to do. And it's just a blessing that I can still understand what I want to do. So I'm just honored to just be around and enjoy life.
I played against you for about 15 years. And when I came out of Memphis, Tennessee, I'd never seen anybody with a manicure before. And when I caught behind you, the first thing I noticed in San Francisco in 1960 was you had a manicure.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, this is unbelievable. Willie Mays with a manicure?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
and I noticed the thickness of your hands, and I also noticed
Hey, stop.
your nails were done.
Stop. What the hell kind of thing is this to observe? I mean, having a manicure is not exactly the most manly thing in the world. They used to, right? It's not. It's a little bit much, but I'm talking about his manicure. He's also, Tim McCarver's talking too much. But hey, who the hell am I to say that? Let's hear more of this.
I never had my name. Of course, I was 18 years old at the time.
You was 18 coming in?
I was 18 in 1960, yeah.
I was 18 when I signed. I was 19 when I came up, so I was right in the same area.
You signed back in 1950, I guess, right?
1950, I came up in 51.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But in 47, 48, 49, in Birmingham, you were playing. I mean, when Jackie Robinson came into the big leagues in 1947, you were, 16 years old in Birmingham?
Might have been 15 or 16.
Because you turned pro when you were 14.
Well, I turned pro a long time before that. It's just I never got the opportunity to play with guys like in, Birmingham. I had to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee to get started. I went there for about a year and played there. And the reason I came back to Birmingham is my father.
You know what I find? What did his father do? What does his father do?
The manager, which is Piper Davis, at that time, and says, "Look at my kid; he can play." So Piper called me, and they played a special game in Birmingham, and they put me at shortstop. And I said, "Wait a minute."
How old were you at the
time?
I was
15.
15.
15. And the ball came so hard. Those guys started hitting the ball hard. In high school, the ball don't come that hard. You can play. So the ball came so hard. I said, "Wait, hold it, back up." I said, "Let me go out to center field."
All right.
So I went to center.
This is all that baseball stuff. I want to know. I want to know what he did after baseball. He said he did a lot of things. What does he do? And let's see about his family. Mays became the third husband of Marguerite Wendell Chapman. She died in 2010. They married in 1956. The couple adopted a 5-day-old baby named Michael in 1959. Oh, they separated in 1962 and divorced in 1963 with Marguerite taking Michael for the majority of the time. 8 years later, Mays married May Louise Allen, a child welfare worker in San Francisco. Wilt Chamberlain had given Mays her phone number. Wilt Chamberlain had given Mays her phone number in 1961, and they dated off and on for the next several years. In 1997, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Mays cared for her until her death in April of 2013. Mays was the godfather of Barry Bonds, whose father Bobby Bonds was a friend of his. Glaucoma forced Mays to stop driving a car and playing golf after 2005. 2018, blind sports writer Ed Lucas wrote that Mays had told him a few years ago that he had actually gone blind. All right. And it looks like the report is that he died of heart failure in Palo Alto. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, put out a statement. "I will not be reading that." That jerk. He's the one who canceled the All-Star game, remember? Moved it from Atlanta to Denver because of the not racist voting bill that actually brought about record voting for pretty much everybody. Okay, so what do you say? Rest in peace, Willie Mays. And that's all I have to say about that. What a life. Hey, I wonder what one more thing about Willie Mays. What the hell would he have made of the Gay Flag Football League? In the perverse effort to sexualize everything, especially if it's not heterosexualized, if it's transsexualized or queer sexualized or bi or gay sexualized, that's okay in our society. And we have a gay football league, Gay Flag Football League. It's sponsored by, of all things, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo was about as regular a town as you could come up with, and now they're dabbling in the gay flag football sports arena. Now, I actually played a fair amount of flag football in high school. It's actually a hell of a lot of fun. You know, if you don't want to get tackled every 10 seconds, it's a really cool thing to do. It's also cool if you do it with the Frisbee, by the way. Some people do it with the Frisbee. I knew my dad knows all about Willie Mays. Willie Mays was his favorite player as a kid. And my dad has an actual Willie Mays jersey. Well, I'd like to talk to my dad about that. We're going to talk to him pretty soon. Oh, here's a little inside baseball for everybody. Paul Ryan had his portrait recommissioned because he did not like the first one. That's why it took so long to go up. So I put something on my Instagram about Paul Ryan, who's on my mind a lot these days, as are a lot of the other rhinos, because this is the moment of truth. Everything is on the line, okay? They're putting boys in dresses in schools and encouraging them to go to the girls' room and all that stuff, right? I think Republicans should be coming out of the woodwork, really. I mean, I'm talking about establishment Republicans and endorse Trump. You know, maybe Dick Cheney? No. Maybe the Bushes? No. Maybe Paul Ryan? No. Paul Ryan made it a point to go out and say, I'm not voting for Trump. So what the hell do you stand for other than yourself? Because you know what he's really into? He's got not one, not two, 3 portraits of himself on Capitol Hill. And a friend of mine just let me know that the third one, which came out after he was speaker, he didn't like the first one, so they had to spend more money and do another one. So Paul Paul Ryan could get inadequate. Now this guy's worth $1 gazillion. He has his kids are almost done with college. He doesn't give a damn about the country. Does not give a damn. Only cares about, that's what they're all in it for, themselves. And that's what makes Trump breaks the mold. Literally did it for the country. Hey, he had a big rally up there in Wisconsin. I want to have highlights on that in a moment. But first, Jim, what do you want to say about Willie Mays?
Hey, Greg, a story about Willie and Stan Musial. The night that Stan died, Willie was at a baseball dinner, and the MC wanted to announce it, but people said, no, don't. It'll make Willie cry. The reason is back in the early 50s at an all-star game in the clubhouse, the black players were playing together, the white players were playing cards together, and Stan Musial walks over to a group, Campanella, Henry Aaron, and Willie Mays, and says, hey, deal me in. And as soon as Stan did that, all the white players started playing with the black players. It was integrated. And apparently Stan was a lousy player. And afterwards, Willie says to Stan, you're a terrible player, Stan. And Stan says, is it that obvious? And that's why when Stan passed, Willie always loved Stan, and Stan loved Willie. And that's just such a lovely story about America at its best. And I wanted to share it with the folks.
Well, I'm glad you did. Thanks very much. It was poker? Is that what they were playing? Is that what you said?
Playing some kind of cards, but the thing is, Red Shane Deans, and everybody said Stan Musial was the worst card player on the team, and people would take his money, and Stan would think he was cool, and Willie could tell in 5 minutes. But then Willie also said, Willie said to Stan, why'd you join the game? And Stan said, I didn't join the game to play cards. So if Willie's up there, hopefully he'll say hello to a Polish guy from Pennsylvania.
All right, man, you speak fast, too. You're sounds like a sports announcer. What do you do?
I'm a retired medical writer, and I was once on Jeopardy when they said, speak twice as loud and half as fast as you normally do. You'll think you're speaking too slow, but you won't be. Huh?
Yeah, that was too slow, though.
Okay.
No. That's fantastic. What year were you on Jeopardy?
1991. I was leading going into Final Jeopardy, and it was canceled, but it wasn't seen in New York because that was during the Gulf War, and it was seen in other cities. And
what did you think of Alec Trebek? Was he I heard he was a high maintenance jerk. May he rest in peace.
Well, at the end of the game, I'm saying, I lost. I was leading going to Final Jeopardy. I finished third. I go, Alex, even though I lost, it was an honor to be on here. And he said, this is the first taping of the game, he said, this is the end of the game when it looks like we're usually chatting with the contestants. And he didn't say a stinking word. And I remember saying to myself, okay, I know he donated a lot of money to charities and to
But he was a great big phony.
he just seemed like a real pompous person.
Yep. That's what came across. I have no idea why that guy was so popular when he died. I mean, my God, they were talking about it was like John McCain's funeral. It was over the top ludicrous. Hey, thanks, Jim, and we'll be right back with Ray Kelly.
Greg Kelly. You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
So the greatest sports expert I know is Ray Kelly, my father. Greater than Curtis Sliwa, greater than Warner Wolf, greater than that guy Buck on the Fox Sports. Ray Kelly, the former police commissioner. Yeah, that guy is a total sports expert. I don't know if you know that about him, but Dad, I feel safe in saying that. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Put a lot of pressure on me, though. But those are all good names.
Don't worry about
it. Willie Mays, in my opinion, was the greatest ball player of all time. He could do it all. He was my favorite player. He came to the Giants. He actually spent 2 years in the military, by the way, which I hadn't heard. You know, nobody mentioned it. I think from like 51 to 54, he was out 52 and 53 seasons because he was in the military. But he was a tremendous home run hitter. He led the league in stolen bases more often than not. He hit for average and he hit for home runs. In 1954, the Giants won the pennant and the World Series. And at the last day of the season was Willie Mays, Don Mueller, and Duke Snider from Brooklyn, all vying for the highest batting average in the league. Willie Mays got it by just a hair, but he was just amazing. And I don't hear anybody mention his basket catch. He caught every ball in a totally unconventional way. I mean, he took his eye off the ball for the last foot before it went into his glove, and that's just the way he always caught everything, including that terrific catch that you mentioned in center field against the Vic Wirtz of the Cleveland Indians, and the great throw that he made after it. So he was just amazing. I was scheduled to meet him, and something came up when he was in New York, and I never did. But I did get his jersey from Fran Healy. Fran was a Yankee catcher at one time, and he interviewed me and asked me who my favorite player was. I said, Willie Mays. He got the jersey for me, and I still have it. It was really very nice of him to do that. But Mays was just an amazing player. I don't think he's ever gotten enough accolades. He could do it all. And a tremendous throwing arm, too. He just did everything. Amazing.
Yeah. Look,
anyway.
It's before my time, but you know what I really remember? The catch, obviously, the over-the-shoulder catch. And he threw it, and I'm told it was a good throw. I never followed up. But that he was focused on where that ball was going. I know that sounds silly, but it was like he just made a spectacular catch. A lot of people would have taken a bow. And he just, it was like the follow through. It was the attention to detail. It was the team player kind of aspect of it. Mean. So, that was something else.
They sort of advertise him as being a stickball player.
A what? A what?
A stickball.
Stickball.
Stickball, yeah. So I myself and my friends went up to 140th Street because we thought he was playing stickball there all the time. Obviously, he wasn't there. But that was a hype that was given to him at the time. That he'd be up there playing stickball if he went there,
Wait, was that where the Polo Grounds were?
No, Polo Grounds was on 155th Street. This was 140th Street west of that, which is where he supposedly hung out. I mean, we had no information, and it was just crazy. He just on the subway and went there,
Ray Kelly.
What a player.
What a player. And what a commissioner and what a father. Not one corner of this city does this guy not know. Isn't that kind of cool? Thank you, Dad.